In the middle of the 20th century, the United States found itself in a situation where over 500,000 Americans were still in state mental hospitals. Changes such as the development of working antipsychotic medications and increased funding for the creation of community mental health centers made deinstitutionalization happen. Deinstitutionalization was the movement of the mentally ill from state hospitals to community-based programs, with the idea that this would have faster turnout process. This theory, flawed in so many ways, is a key factor to which led a huge increase of mentally ill individuals in prisons. According to Canales, author of Prison, the New Mental Health System, many of the originally considered community mental health centers were never developed, leaving such individuals with nowhere to turn for treatment. Deinstitutionalization, along with the changes in civil commitment laws, a lack of training for police officers, mercy bookings, and societal attitudes are what have built up to creating the prison system and making it a new gap for the mentally ill to be stuck in. My name is Kendra Harris, and I propose that in order to solve this huge mental health issue, the most effective solution would be to separate the mentally ill out of the prison system completely. To persuade you of the need for action, let me first inform you on the statistics of the occupancy of mentally ill in the prison system currently. Before the movement of deinstitutionalization, over 50 years ago, there were approximately 75% of the mentally ill population in mental hospitals, and only 25% in prison or jails. Today, 95% of the mentally ill population are housed in correctional institutions, and only 5% of them in mental hospitals. Many supported deinstitutionalization because they believed that the mentally ill would benefit from being released from state hospitals. They believed that with the assistance of antipsychotic medications, the mentally ill will be able to live independently in a community, and that the CMHCs would provide the additional care, treatment, and follow-up services. Deinstitutionalization promised care outside of the state mental hospitals in the form of halfway houses, community residences, outpatient clinics, in-home psychiatric providers, and other alternatives. However, this never happened, and is what led us to the failing system we have today. This growing problem has huge consequences. For those that suffer from mental illnesses, being put in environments such as prison or jail, a mentally ill person is set up for their disease to be worsened. With the prison system never being designed for their care, staff that is neither trained or not large enough to help them, they end up stuck in a system where their future holds an endless cycle of being thrown in and out of incarceration. Since almost the entire population of mentally ill are in and out of the prison system, it can be assumed that a change in this area would be huge for the overcrowding prison population. A 2014 report published by the National Research Council said that the prison population of the United States is by far the largest in the world. Just under 1/4 of the world's prisoners are held in American prisons. The United States currently has the highest documented imprisonment rate in the world, and at the end of 2009, it incarcerated 743 adults per 100,000 population. Looking at the prison population, it was found that psychosis was present at 4 or 5 times the level found in the general population. Mr. Phil Wheatley, writing in the HM Prison Service Annual Report, says, against a background of rising population of over 72,000, of whom at least 75% will have either abused drugs in the last 24 hours before their arrest, 20% of men and 40% of women prisoners confess to having tried to kill themselves prior to coming into custody, over 90% having had a previous history of mentally ill health, drugs or health problems, and frequently all three together. Looking at this data, it can be said that with such a large number of inmates checking these boxes, the system needs to be changed to suit this in order to truly create an effective system that corrects the behavior by giving them the mental health care that they need to do so. To set the tone of what the prison system does to one with mental illness, we can look at the story of Timothy. Timothy grew up in an unhealthy environment with a mom diagnosed schizophrenic, and who also tried to commit suicide with Timothy in her arms several times. He was put into the care of the government at a young age. Started off displaying behaviors or mental illness, he was quick to get into trouble and could not find a way to function on his own in society. He later became diagnosed with schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, and impulse control disorder, borderline personality disorder with antisocial features, major depression, and oppositional defiant disorder. He had also been diagnosed as suffering from neuropsychological dysfunction and impairment, with a borderline level of intellectual functioning and IQ of 76. Timothy's illness caused him to be assaultive, impulsive, and aggressive. By 1999, Timothy had been restrained 15 times and accused of inappropriately touching several women. When he then assaulted 2 staff members, the hospital pressed charges and had him sent to prison. On the 12th day in prison, Timothy acted out and had to be restrained. 2 hours after he was placed in 4-point restraints and given a sedative, Timothy was found dead in his cell. While tragic, Timothy's story is not uncommon. In fact, it's accurately representing what is happening currently in the prisons across the United States. If an alternative to this system could be created, it is likely that Timothy's situation could be avoided. By completely eliminating the option of prison for someone like him and increasing the foundation for a strong mental health care system, he could have been admitted into proper care he needed at a young age, setting him in an environment where he can function to the best of his abilities, out of way of harm to himself and others. Looking at the data that shows the high numbers of mentally ill who are incarcerated, and the lack of the system outside of a prison for them to be admitted to, it can now be assured that something needs to be done. And after hearing about Timothy as an example of the consistent struggle that these individuals face from a young age, you can correlate a need for early intervention with a strong mental health care system that would have kept him stable and functioning and out of the prison system, away from societal dangers, to face only increasing escalating issues for him. Not only would removing the mentally ill out of the prison system solve the prison overcrowding issue that the United States has, but it would also lower crime rates that are committed by those with untreated escalating mental health issues. Individuals with mental illnesses do not have a choice in their behavior or their ability to function in a normal society, so it is up to the rest of society to build a system that supports them for the greater good. Thank you.